Welcome to a day in the life of Mary Beth.
We're going to be talking about my HS, hidradenitis suppurativa, the story of my life.
So I'm gonna do my makeup because I don't know if you can see, I have acne, okay? I'm trying to be professional because Jamari is insisting on me using this mic. I'm not using it because we have it. People like good audio. I have hidradenitis suppurativa. I've had it since I was like 6 years old. I'm one of the youngest patients at every practice that I've been to for dermatology that has hidradenitis and has had it for that long. At first, they said that I had severe acne. Like they swore up and down that that's what it was. And they were like, yeah, we think that you just have, hormone issues and severe acne. Mind you, I was like 6 years old. So how does that make any sense? They had me try all these topical creams, steroid medication for pain, to the point where I remember going to the pharmacy and they would have to confirm with my mom and they would have to confirm with the doctor multiple times. And I can tell you how many times we went to the pharmacy and they did not want to give the medicine because they were like, this is too strong for her. Like, she should not be given this medicine. And they had to call the doctor multiple times and be like, are you sure? Like, is this okay? Do we have the approval to give her this medicine? And then I would get like the steroid medicine or whatever the case may be. Lots of creams that I reacted to badly because I have really sensitive skin. I've always had really sensitive skin. It's not as sensitive as it was before when I was a kid, but I think it's just because I learned like what things are okay and what are not okay with my skin. I've just learned over time like what is good for my skin, what works, what doesn't work, and I feel like that helps. I had a lot of allergic reactions to the prescriptions I was given. It did not work. And then I had one doctor that was like, oh, my primary care doctor, mind you, that I feel like didn't really know much at all. And he would just tell me that the reason I had all these problems was because I was fat. I was very young. And like looking back at pictures of myself, I really was not fat. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you for the body dysmorphia. Because yeah, I had all these doctors call me fat, and looking back, I literally in high school, I weighed as much as I weigh now. Do you guys think I'm fat? Do you guys, like, I think I look in the mirror and I'm like, I feel fat or whatever, but in reality, I don't think I am. So, yeah, I had a ton of doctors do that to me, like many people can relate to. But fast forward, I stopped going to the doctors. And I was like, screw this. They have me use all these medications that were just not working and were crap, okay? Medicines would make things worse because I would have an allergic reaction to them and then I would be freaking out and my skin would be burning. And on top of that, I already had cysts on that skin. And so it was a whole freaking nightmare. So I got to the point where I just gave up. And with that, I was like, I don't want to see any doctors. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna take care of myself. I told myself I'm just gonna perform like mini surgeries on myself whenever I need it. I'm gonna use band-aids and deal with the pain and get through everything on my own or whatever. So I'm gonna try not to put a lot of makeup on my face skin because my skin has been breaking out. So this makeup is gonna be looking weird, but whatever. So, whatchamacallit? In middle school, I was a part of a soccer team. I joined a soccer team and I was like, I really want to play sports. I want to get all this anger that I had because I had anger issues as well. Like, as a kid at 3 years old, I freaking punched through an entire window. I would throw TVs. Like, I'm not proud of the person that I was. But I was just a kid and I was not in the best household either. So I think that was my reaction to, I don't have any control over the things that are happening at home, and I want to let go and be free and express my pain. So I would just throw things. I was crazy, guys. Like, yeah. And then I would defend people more than myself, which I feel like most people do that. But I like hit people. Like,
I would never do that now. Like I completely transformed, like 180. I wouldn't even touch, I wouldn't even, you know how people are like, oh, just like tap them on the shoulder. I don't even feel comfortable doing that. Like, I don't even feel comfortable like giving someone a shove. And if I do, it's like guilt. You know, I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like that I shoved you. Like, but back in the day, my sister got cheated on. I went up to this guy at church service, okay? He was the greeter. He was handing out brochures. And I fully walked up to him and said, do not hurt my sister, and slapped him across the face. I was crazy, like out of control. Did he deserve it? Yes. But was that okay for me to do? No, not at all. But that's the kind of person I was, okay? Like, out of control. So I was like, okay, I watched movies and stuff where the kid would be the troublemaker and he would be like fighting all these people or whatever, and then all of a sudden he plays football. And it's like, that's his dream, that's his passion. Now he's playing football, now he's not a troublemaker, now he's focused, now he's going to college, now he's got a scholarship. So I was like, let me be that girl. So I joined soccer and I started playing soccer. I was not very confident about my body or whatever, so I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna help. You know what I mean? Instead, my hidradenitis got really, really bad. In that time of me playing soccer, I had 2 surgeries. Yeah. And I think that's what pushed me to get diagnosed. That definitely was what pushed me to get diagnosed, because of the fact that while I was playing soccer, it was getting so bad, right? And this is before I even had the surgeries. I was playing jacks with my mom, like on the floor or whatever. And if you guys don't know what jacks is, it's like you put the things on and then you bounce the ball and then you have to kind of grab them before the ball lands on the floor. At least that's what I understood. I don't know. It's been a really long time since I played that. So I was wearing my shorts from soccer, and all of a sudden I like reach over and my shorts rode up and my mom saw my thighs. And she saw all of the scars that I had been, you know, covering up with Band-Aids. She saw my little mini surgery evidence, and she immediately told me to take off my pants and was like, take them off right now. Like, let me see your naked body. What the frick are you hiding? I freaked out because I was like, frick. I've been doing so good at hiding this for so long, and now my cover is freaking blown, and I'm gonna have to deal with all this crap all over again, where I'm going to the doctor, I'm having allergic reactions to all these things, and nothing's working. And my sister kept pushing me. My sister, she was in on it. She like knew what was going on because she would help me put on my Band-Aids and stuff. So, and I would tell her like, don't tell anyone, like, forbid you from telling anyone. And she already knew like the situation, and I think everyone knew that I had a skin disease, but that it was unsolved. I just took it away from being like in the light, you know, didn't solve it, just took it out of the light. And yeah, for a long time people thought that I was like an alien or something, and that I was really contagious, so they would stay away from me. And I remember like my parents being like, stay away from Mary Beth because, you know, you're gonna get whatever she has, God forbid, we don't know what's wrong with her and all this stuff. And mind you, I'm like half naked on a bed and there's blood coming out of me and I'm crying because I need help putting on a Band-Aid that I can't reach. So I didn't really like that experience, and I was like, let me just keep to myself and let me just pair up with my sister and she'll help me because we share a room, so she has to help me. And yeah, she was pushing me to go to a freaking dermatologist, and she was like, you need to tell mom and dad, you need to stop hiding this, and you need to like just go to the doctors, do it again, get a second opinion. Like, I think that you just went through a terrible experience and the doctors didn't know what the heck they were doing, so they just tried all this random stuff on you and they didn't figure it out, and now you're just running away from your problems. And I was like, agree to disagree. I was so stubborn. I was like, I don't need to go to the doctor, Linda. Like, I'm gonna be fine. I think that you're being really dramatic. I think that I'm handling it very well for someone that is struggling. Why would I need them? But then soccer, right, made things so bad to the point where I was like, okay, freak, she was right. Like, I should really go see a professional because this is really bad. Like, the Band-Aids are not Band-Aid, like working like they did before. They're sliding off. My Band-Aid, I freaking found it on, like, in my pants somehow. Oh, my Band-Aid was on my shirt and I got called out and laughed at in class because I had this random freaking Band-Aid hanging out of my shirt. Yeah. So it became really, really bad. And I decided, let me take my sister's advice. And when my mom saw, she saw that pushed me into really committing to searching for what the frick this is and not giving up and continuing to go to doctors. So I went to a doctor in Tampa, and I think it was because my mom was like, I want to make sure it's a good doctor. I don't know what she did to make sure, but she was like, we got to get another opinion. Like, clearly we didn't go to the right doctors and they all suck and they don't know what they're talking about. And I was like, yeah, agree. And so we went to Tampa, which is so far, guys. I saw this dermatologist, and I remember my best friend, like, literally went with me to this appointment. And she's the one person that remembers this experience because she helped me, like, take off my bra and, like, show the areas and all this stuff. And I was so scared, and I was like, can I bring my best friend with me because, like, I'm so scared. And we've known each other, since we were in diapers. So we were like two peas in a pod. And she came with me to my appointment. This lady freaking did a biopsy. And when she pulled out this paper that looked like the paper that you use for a Hot Pocket to freaking chip away at my skin and take off a chunk and then just throw it in a jar and be like, well, the results will be back in like a few weeks. I was like, ah! I remember being in so much pain. They did an injection in the cyst that I had under my arm. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to find out what this is. And when I came back from my follow-up appointment, they told me I have hidradenitis suppurativa. And I was like, oh, great. Like, you guys figured it out. Like, what it is, great. And then she looks at me and she's like, yeah, there's no cure to this. I'm really sorry. The only treatments that we have are either really heavy medicine to help with the pain, or we can do surgery on you. That is it. Nothing else. Like, unfortunately, like, we just don't know enough about this disease, and it's really rare. And yeah, I went home and I cried my freaking eyes out for days. And I remember being like, there's no hope for me. And now I know what I have, but like, it's still the same. Like, I just don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm stuck. I'm a lost cause. And I just felt so terrible about myself. And then I had to start taking care of myself the way that I was, using my Band-Aids and all this stuff, mini surgeries on myself. I just had to continue that life. And it got to the point where, like, I felt like I couldn't do that anymore. And then here I am at a doctor's office, and they're looking at me like, you need to keep doing that. That's all you have to do. Or else we're just gonna chop you up and, like, treat you like a guinea pig. And that's all you are, an experiment. Very, very sad, very disappointing. Since then, it's pretty much been a really long journey, with finding out what I have, understanding how to navigate through HS, lots of like trials. I'm still going through it to this day. I've had hidradenitis since I was 6. I'm now 28. It's been 22 years of like pain and trauma. And there have been blessings along the way, don't get me wrong, because there were things that I did not expect to have the opportunity to do. Like, one prayer that I had that God never answered for me was, how are you going to bring glory to my skin disease? Like, how the hell are you going to bring glory to this thing that brought me so much trauma that I have physical scars from? And surely enough, he always delivers in like the way that we never think of. And I ended up getting a surgery approved for my excess skin. Okay, mind you guys, I have like a lot of like things that I've gone through. One of the things that I had was lupus back in 2017. When I first found out that I was lupus positive, I got to the point where like, to even find out in that time, like I was not doing well. I had flare-ups all the time. My flare-ups, my episodes were like 4 days long. Mind you, like once a week. So that means 3 good days, 2 good days, if that. And I was always sick. I was always like in and out of the hospital. And I could not use my hands, guys. Like I worked at a call center and it would hurt physically to use the mouse. And my hands would cramp up and I'd have to constantly be like this because of the pain in my hands. Like they felt like somebody ran over them all the freaking time. And through my insurance and through finding out from my best friend, like telling me, you know, about this girl that she met that had the same things, like similar issues as me, and she was able to get bariatric surgery and it was covered by insurance. I ended up having bariatric surgery, becoming lupus free from that surgery. Do not regret it. And getting it fully covered by insurance, mind you, free. I lost all the excess weight, and I knew that the one downside was my HS was gonna get worse, most likely, just from the research that I did. And it did it. It was like so bad. Then I went to my dermatologist, met the most amazing dermatologist. I love her. Like I am sticking to her like glue for the rest of my life. She did all this documentation for me to get my excess skin removed for $3. Completely covered by insurance, guys, which was like a miracle. And that was my answered prayer. That was God bringing glory to my skin disease. And I was like, dang, it's crazy that even though I couldn't be cured, like I was able to get all these years. Like it is the craziest, most mind-blowing thing. Sometimes I sit naked. I'm not even kidding. I'll sit naked and I'll literally look at my scar on my thigh. And I'm like, it is crazy to me that I used to look down at my thighs all the time and see me at 6 years old, like me at 10 years old, me at like, I could see all these little like scars and know that like that was a part of that. Like that, I remember the memories, all of the things, like this was my surgery, this was this surgery that didn't work. And like, it was so overwhelming to look down at my thighs. I would never wear shorts. I would never like, I just felt terrible. And then to think that somebody else is gonna see that and see what I see or even more, it was just really hard. And now I can look down at my thighs and I'm like, it's not there. It's not there. Like the pain is still in me, you know what I mean? Because I have those scars inside of me of, you know, all the things that I went through, but the fact that physically it is not there is just such a blessing because I feel like I have a clean slate. And even though that slate, you know, might get dirty again because it's, my HS has not gone away. It's like, it's just, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that reset, you know? So I found out about the AIP diet and that completely transformed my life. By the way, I've been done with my makeup. I didn't put on highlight. Let me put on some highlight. Done so quick. I'm like the most lazy makeup person. I could put on primer. Oh no, I put on primer, so I don't even need to put on setting powder. Whatever. And then I just need my lip plumper for later. But yeah, so I'm still in the process of that. I found out about the AIP diet. It was this article that I saved, guys, and I've had it for years. And I remember looking online and wanting to see like who else has HS. I couldn't find anyone, like no one. And there was one group that I did end up finding later on in life. That was a group in London, like an HS support in London. And I was like, right, bro, like they have to be so far and I'm too bored to like even fly over there and meet everyone, and I don't even know how to get connected. Like I'm so young, people are gonna think I'm weird, and but like they're probably all adults. So I never really had that like connection to community for HS. And I found this girl that commented just from like the search engine Google, sent me to this article, and this girl's comment talking about her HS experience. and sharing like her pain and her trauma with HS. And I read this and I never felt so like, I felt like I was with that person. I felt like I wasn't alone for the first time. And I printed it out, guys, because I was like, oh my gosh, whenever I am having a flare up, whenever I'm feeling so down, I'm gonna read this comment and I'm gonna remember that I'm not by myself and that it's okay to feel how I feel and that I'm not alone, you know, period. So years, and for years and years and years, I, even to this day, if I go through like a really tough flare up, I pull out that article and I read it. I cry my eyes out and I remind myself that I'm not alone. And in that article, she talks about AIP diet. And I remember being like, not really knowing, like, how could I do that? Blah, blah. I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the money. And then when I did have the money, I decided to go on the AIP diet. AIP diet completely transformed my life, guys, because it helped me control my flare-ups with my lupus, you know, when I did have it, and then with my HS. So whenever I eat AIP elimination phase, I am good. Like my HS is top-notch, clear, best experience. I learned what my triggers are, what things I need to avoid to like minimize my flare-ups. Of course, it's hard to have like that discipline, you know, because I do like white potatoes and that's something that can cause a flare-up for me. And I do like Indian food and the nightshade seasonings cause flare-ups for me. So it's like, dang, struggles, you know? But you gotta choose your battles. So at least I have the choice, you know? I'll be like, I'm gonna eat the Indian food and if I get a flare-up, freak it. Like, I want some curry. But it's my choice. I have more control. And yeah, and I talked about it. Let me get up because my bag, y'all. But I have talked about it, you know, in my videos. I started making TikToks about it. And it's really crazy how, you know, when you open up and when you tell people about things, you realize like, I am not alone. Like there's so many people that are going through these things. And I thought for the longest time, like I was just by myself. I thought it was just a few of us, but there's a lot of us. And since then, I have found a little community, you know, of people and gotten connected with them. And it's the best blessing ever. But it's a huge part of my identity. I feel like, even though like I'm more than that, I'm more than my skin disease, I'm more than my conditions, all this stuff. Like I've shared more time with my skin disease than I have with my significant other. I've shared more time with my skin disease than I have, you know, in school. Like in all my years of school. It's crazy. So it's just very humbling experience, you know, having skin disease. And then now it's been deemed an autoimmune disease. So it's like a whole other thing, which makes super sense. But if you're watching this video and you feel like, oh my God, I'm by myself in my disease or whatever the case may be, or you even have HS, like just know that you're not alone. And just don't give up on the fight. I feel like it's easy to, you know, give up like I did before I got diagnosed with hidradenitis suppurativa and be like, I'm just gonna deal with this, blah. It's hard to keep trying. It's really, really hard to keep trying. And to anyone that has a chronic illness that is incurable, I want you to know that like I am giving you your flowers, like 1,000%, because the resilience that you have to keep trying, to keep researching, to keep, you know, trying different diets or trying, you know, different medications and stuff. It's really hard. It's so easy to give up. It's so hard to keep trying. And I hope that my story and like the things that I have been blessed with, you know, change. One thing I did not mention was the fact that I could not have kids before my bariatric surgery. I did not ovulate. Like that was not a thing for me. And I remember the day that I was told that I would never have children at 16 years old, bro. And that was my dream. Like I've always wanted to become a mom. I know that I was put on this earth to become a mom. Like out of everything, not just a mom of children, but I also want goats and chickens. That's like a thing. And it's always been in me. That's what I want to do. And at 16, that dream was killed. I used to work with little kids. I've done it since then. But before I got diagnosed with PCOS and it being infertile, I worked with little kids. They call me the baby whisperer at church and all these things. And like, after they told me I would never have kids, I could not be in a room with a kid. I just could not even fathom like taking care of a baby. Like, I didn't want to do it. It made me so uncomfortable. It made me so sad. I remember I was like, there's no point. There's no point in getting this experience. Why am I going to take care of these kids? Why am I going to have this experience? Like, I'm never going to be able to have that. And every time I was in a room with a little kid, I would just remember, like, I'm never going to have that. It was so sad. So I just disconnected myself from working with kids, from babysitting as much as possible. And anytime I had to do it, or I felt like I had to do it because I was helping someone and I don't know how to say no, I felt terrible. And that was always on my mind the entire time. And I would have never imagined being able to say that I can have kids now. I didn't think it was possible because the doctors were so sure that I would never have the opportunity to be a mom, to have my own kids. All this to say, do not give up and do not listen to the doctors. I respect doctors. Don't get me wrong. Y'all are great. You're doing great. However, I don't believe that you have the final say. And I don't believe that you have all the answers. And I think that even you as a doctor, if you think that you have all the answers, that's crazy. No one has all the answers. So I believe that we as people, as individuals, we need to be our biggest advocate. And I, as a woman of faith, I believe that God has the final say because I've seen it so many times. I've seen so many miracles happen and like answered prayers in ways that I would have never imagined. Like, there's no way you can tell me that that wasn't God. And no matter how my relationship is with, you know, church and all this stuff, like I've struggled feeling like I don't fit in the church and stuff because I am an open-minded individual. I am okay with the LGBTQ plus community. I love them. Like, my beliefs are not the same as like a lot of conservative church people, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like because I've always been very open about that, I've never felt like I fit into church, and I've had a lot of church hurt, and I just can't, you know, like I'm at a point in my life where I've just stopped going to church, and I feel like it's just too much. Like I don't know, that's just my opinion, and I respect people that do go to church though, and I hope and pray that like you have a good church that like serves you and everything, and I just haven't found that, you know, and who's to say I won't find that in the future. But no matter how uncomfortable I feel with church or how separated I feel from the church, I never feel separated from God. And I think that everyone should be like that. And I think that if you feel uncomfortable or you feel like you don't fit in with church people, so to speak, know that you always fit in with God because He loves you no matter what. And I cannot just be like, I hate church people and all this stuff. Now I'm not going to believe in God. And I'm saying that because I've done that before. But then I look at like all my wins. I look at all these things that He's done for me in my life and all these unexplainable events where it's like, how did this happen? I can't tell you how many times I've talked to doctors and they're like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Does this happen? I had a tumor in my brain at one point. I prayed and prayed and prayed, and all of a sudden, it's gone. And the doctors are like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, okay, I serve a God that does not make sense. And so I always try to like, you know, keep my beliefs to myself and I respect other people's beliefs 1000%. That's just a huge part of my story. And I would feel wrong to keep that away, you know, to separate God from all these things that He did for me in
my medical journey and my journey to healing and all these things. So yeah, I just had to mention that. Ultimately, my whole story is to remind you guys that you're not alone. And I hope that this finds someone that has hidradenitis suppurativa that feels like I'm by myself. I don't know anyone with HS. I don't whatever. I'm a new HS buddy. And it's not our identity. However, it makes us extremely resilient. Who's calling me? My sister's calling me. Girl, way to interrupt my video. I'm gonna call her back. I think it's really important for me to talk about it because it's a huge part of my life and my journeys. And yeah, I love you guys so freaking much. Tune in for more videos in the future. Love you guys. Bye.